Well, what's up again, guys? Brian here at 3TR, and it is that time of the year where everybody starts getting out their lists in terms of the top 10 best and worst movies that they saw in 2017. Now, I've already done my worst movies of 2017's list, so if you're interested in seeing that video, please press the link in the description down below. But now it is time to get into the top 10 best movies that I saw this year. But I have 3 honorable mentions, and going into this video, I decided to do it a little bit different than I did my worst list movie, because that ended up being a little bit longer than I was expecting, and I don't want this video to be that long. So a lot of these movies I'm just going to kind of skim through and just give quick descriptions of. But in terms of 3 of my honorable mention movies, they are Thor Ragnarok, which I felt is actually by far the best Thor movie we've had to date. Kingsman: The Golden Circle, which although I thought was disappointing, there was enough there that I did find enjoyable. And The Disaster Artist, which I thought was rather incredible, because it's one of those examples of when you watch the movie that this movie is based around, you kind of view it as an audience member, but when you actually learn about the story behind the film, you kind of get a much different appreciation for it. And actually, I was actually convinced to go back and watch The Room again, and you know, if I can believe this story that The Disaster Artist tells me, I now have a new appreciation and can watch the movie in a different light now, which I think is actually pretty incredible. So going off real simple with number 10 on my list, I picked Terminator 2 in 3D. Now, I didn't get a chance to see Terminator 2 when it first came out in theaters, but the fact I was given an opportunity to watch what is honestly tied with The Dark Knight to be my second favorite movie of all time in theaters, in actually some pretty damn good 3D. I thought it was a pretty incredible experience, and that movie still holds up, and to this day it is still remains my tied with Dark Knight's second favorite movie of all time. Going on with number 9, I picked John Wick 2. Now, John Wick 1, like Taken, was a surprise hit. Incredible action. Keanu Reeves does an amazing job, and that momentum keeps going into this film. I love how they spent a little bit more time explaining exactly how the world works in terms of this, like, underground, well, I guess it's kind of an underground assassin-like network. And I like that John Wick is just now even more trouble, having to do something that, you know, got him in trouble back in the day. And I'm even more pumped to see what they do with the follow-up in John Wick 3, because I'm hoping this will be a great trilogy. I'm hoping it won't suffer the fate like other trilogies do, where the third end is kind of but I have a lot of faith in the follow-up. But in terms of this one, I definitely think it's the best John Wick we've had to date, so only the future will tell. Number 8 on my list is Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, obviously the first Guardians of the Galaxy was a major surprise, so going into this movie, I was expecting something good. And while it did kind of follow a number of the traits that these Marvel movies pretty much follow, and it felt very it felt very safe and by the numbers. But I think that it was the third act that really won me over, and I will admit it did have probably one of the most saddest and emotional moments that I've had in a film in some time. It's been a while since I actually kind of almost got teary-eyed. I was able to hold it back, but I think the fact that I was able to pull it off, I thought was pretty incredible. Number 7 on my list is the Lego Batman movie. By far the best Batman-related movie I have seen since The Dark Knight. I absolutely like the take of Batman that they took with this. I like the story that they tried to tell. I think it fit the Batman character perfectly. I thought that some of the action scenes were very, very impressive, especially done with Legos. Hopefully they will do a Lego Batman sequel, because I really enjoyed this one, and I think that this is a great Batman type movie for all ages, whether you're a kid or an adult. Number 6 on my list is The Darkest Hour. Now, I'm a big World War II fan, as you'll find out later on in this video, and I think that the story going over Winston Churchill was incredible. I thought Gary Oldman's portrayal of him was absolutely impressive. I would even say it's probably one of the best portrayal of a historic figure I've seen since Daniel Day-Lewis's portrayal of Abraham Lincoln in the movie Lincoln. If you are a big World War II fan like myself, this is absolutely a must-see movie that you have to see. It's an absolutely incredible movie. I hope, since this movie is definitely kind of like awards bait, and I hope it wins a good amount of awards. And I think Gary Oldman definitely deserves a nomination for an Oscar. That's just me personally. Going on to number 5 was a movie I was not expecting to like as much as I did, but it ended up being probably one of the best horror type movies I've seen in many, many, many years, and that is It. Now, I did happen to see the old version with Tim Curry in it, and I think that movie I think that kind of a like television series, I think it's more hilarious than scary, but this one was very, very well done. Now, I don't usually do horror movies, and I didn't find this movie to really be all that scary, but I think that the updates and the story that they were trying to tell made for a very good coming of age type story, and the importance of friendship and facing your fears. And I think that Bill Skarsgård, I hope that's the actor's name, I think his portrayal of Pennywise, by far the most impressive villain type character I've seen in a long time. I would say he would be seriously a major contender for one of the best villains we've had this decade. I'm pumped up to see the sequel. I hope they get that out as fast as possible. They need to keep this momentum going. If you have not seen it, what the hell are you doing? Go see it as quickly as you can. Number 4 on my list is also another movie I was not expecting to be this great, and that was Get Out. Now, I actually have quite a personal enjoyment with this movie, me being an African-American male. I happened to see this with my mom, and we both really enjoyed this. I think I was not expecting this type of movie from the director, and that just shows you that despite the director's backstory, when you have a good script, a good director, good talent in front and behind the camera, it really can give you a film that you think it's going to be very cliche and dumb, but it's actually quite intelligent, very well handled, very well paced, very well acted, great cinematography, and it ended up being probably one of the best movies of its kind I have seen in some time. I immediately picked this up on Blu-ray the second it was out, and I even took it with me to Taiwan to show a friend of mine, and I think for the most part she enjoyed it. So yeah, Get Out, definitely one of the best movies I saw this year. Number 3 on my list is a movie that I knew I was going to love. It was definitely high up on my most anticipated movies list, and that is Dunkirk. As I stated earlier on in the video, I'm a big World War II fan. This is a Christopher Nolan film. Christopher Nolan is by far my favorite director of all time. As far as I'm concerned, he has never made a bad movie. So you get Christopher Nolan in a World War II movie about Dunkirk. I'm sold. I absolutely love the film. Definitely picked that up the second it was out, and if you are a big history fan like me, I think it does a pretty damn good job at telling and giving you the suspense of what it was like at Dunkirk during World War II. So yeah. Number 2 on my list is probably, now between 1 and 2, it was hard because at first number 2 was at number 1, but after a certain deal went through, I was very, very sad, and so I switched them up. But number 2 on my list is War for the Planet of the Apes. I thought this was an absolutely great ending to a great trilogy. It did not follow the usual trend of movies that are popular, where the first one is great, the second one takes it up to another level, and then the third one kind of dwindles. This one did not do it at all. I think it was a great ending to Caesar's story. I think the story was very unique on its own. Definitely had a lot of very sad and emotional moments for me. Definitely a lot of heart, character, some great action. Andy Serkis again. I'm kind of sick of this whole, using CGI is not acting. His portrayal of Caesar has always been incredible. It needs to be recognized, and I'm just sick and tired every year of him not being acknowledged. He is an incredible actor, even when he's not doing all the CGI work. I mean, he's the master of this craft and a great actor, whether he's in CGI or not. And this was just another example of that. And that was just why I absolutely loved War of the Planet of the Apes. But by far, my favorite movie of 2017 had to go to Logan. Hugh Jackman's Wolverine it's kind of shocking how long he's been Wolverine. It's kind of crazy. I was 9 years old when Hugh Jackman was first Wolverine, and I'm 27 now, so this is kind of a character I've been with for a very long time, and so to have a chance to kind of say goodbye to him was sad, and to see just what happened to these X-Men. I mean, what happened to Professor Xavier. absolutely tragic. I mean, what's going on with X-23? Just tragic. I mean, this was just a really tragic film. And I think it was a good representation of what's happened now, because now that Disney House now has taken ownership of Fox, or, you know, the Fox properties, I now know that this X-Men franchise, which I've really enjoyed since I was a kid, is now over. Now I know that there's some people that really didn't enjoy the X-Men films, and I thought they were crap, but I absolutely disagreed. I think for the most part they were always great. X-Men 1 was great, X-Men 2 was great, X-Men 3 had its problems, you know, Wolverine Origins, you know, sucked. The Wolverine I thought was decent. X-Men Days of Futures Past is still to this day my favorite team-based movie ever. Better than both Avengers movies, better than Captain America Civil War. And I don't even think that this upcoming Avengers movie is going to be as good as that film does. And so to kind of see this ending to this character was truly an emotional moment. And I will openly admit, I did cry at the end for what happened to Wolverine, because I felt like I was saying goodbye to a friend or a character I'd known for a long time that I practically almost grew up with. But I did think it was by far Hugh Jackman's greatest performance as Wolverine, and in my opinion, greatest performance I've ever seen him as an actor. And I'm really curious to see what he's going to do going on later on to his career, because I definitely do have plans to see the greatest show on earth. But I just want to say, you know, thank you, Fox, for doing this character justice. Thank you, Hugh Jackman, for portraying my favorite X-Men of all time so magnificently, and giving us a story that I know we will never see again, because I know this is not what Disney does. Disney can never tell stories like this, and so this was truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I'm happy for that, and that's why Logan is by far my favorite movie of 2017. But now I'd like to know, what are the best movies that you saw in 2017? Share your list with me and everybody else in the comments down below. And if you like this video, feel free to like, comment down below, and subscribe to keep track of my future videos. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.